Welcome everybody. My name is Alex Antopalan here from the Sartorial Army, and I'm very excited to be here with Milo Andres.
Hey guys, it's Camilo Andres from Milo Andres. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, happy for you to be here. And today we're going to be talking kind of about your story, how you started this brand, what got you inspired within the menswear industry.
Yeah, so I first started out in 2016. So I wanted to start a leather sourcing company. So I wanted to have like leather wallets and do stuff like that. So the only way you could start a business is just going out there and like taking a risk, pretty much, right? Scary thing to do. You know, I went to Hong Kong for a trade show for fashion, for accessories, for fabrics. There was people from Italy, from England, from Spain. It's like a global fashion show they have every year, right? They have that in Vegas. It's like expos, right?
Okay.
So I was like very interested to find out about leather goods. So I came from the juice industry. I actually had a juice bar in Gaithersburg, Maryland.
Wow.
So Gaithersburg, Maryland is like a very suburban area. It's like around 25 minutes out of DC. So I really wanted to make sure that, you know, since that didn't work out, I was like, what am I going to do now? I always had the entrepreneur spirit, you know. I just hate working for other people. I hate, you know, having to depend on other people. Now I could do whatever I want. You know, if I want to say, hey, Milo Andres wants to change their logo to pink, I could do it. I don't have to wait for a team to approve anything. It's my brand. Like, I get to kind of have my influence on it. You know, I respect my clients' decisions. So that's the good thing about our custom brand is that people could customize it however they want. But sometimes I kind of throw in some shade, you know, like, you sure? Just wondering, you know, asking for a friend. You know, it's like
kind of double checking it,
just
right?
checking it. I mean, I think it would look better if you did this. You know, like, for example, our buttons. Like, I have 5 buttons on my sleeve. That's something that's, like, unheard of out there. It's like Italians like the 3 buttons. I like the 5 buttons. This is the Milo thing. Tom Ford seems to like that nowadays as well. Yeah.
Well, going off of the button styles too, right? You know, there's different things like the kissing buttons where they're all kind of stacked on top of one another.
Yeah.
Some people want working buttons, or what do they call them? Surgeon cuffs. Functional. So that's cool. When do you think you first got bit by the entrepreneur bug?
I got bit by entrepreneur bug because my father was actually a contractor, so everything he did was hustling.
Okay.
He didn't know his schedule, so you couldn't sneak out of school. You couldn't sneak in, you know, friends. You couldn't do anything because you didn't know what time the man was going to be home. You know, I was a little kid with a rough past, so I always was like, you know, trying to do like my own thing, and then you didn't know your own father's schedule. Your mother had a schedule. Everybody else had a schedule, but your dad, he didn't have a schedule. It's like, you know, it was like open season. Anytime he comes in, you're like, what?
What? He's home now?
He picked his own schedule. So whenever he had a sale kind of thing, like a gig or something, he left and went to do it any time of the day, right? So I'm like, I like this. That talk we were having earlier about having to travel here, coming like what, an hour, 2 hours in the subway station every day, just to like get to work and then having to come back home. It's cool and everything. I respect people that hustle because everybody has to support their family or their own personal problems or any reason they have to find a way to make income. So it's good, respectable. But I can't see myself waking up. I'm not good at waking up. So if you ever book me before 9 a.m., good luck because I'll be late. No, it's true. I'm not good at waking up. And then things like you have to wake up early to get like on a public transportation and then get to work. And then you have to go do living somebody else's dream kind of thing.
That's
you know?
true.
It's cool, you know. It's like, thank you. You know, like I saw a meme yesterday. It was like the guy had a Lamborghini, and his employee's like, "Wow, man, that's a really good Lamborghini." He's like, "Yeah, if you keep working hard, I'll be able to get another one next year." AKA the boss, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that's my drive. I want to make my own hours. I want to go wherever I want. I'm in Boston right now. I never in my life thought I was gonna go to Boston. I'm a Wizards fan, Celtics. But like,
you came at a perfect time today as we're having our Super Bowl parade out here right now.
Yeah.
Everybody on their duck boats and everything else.
It's crazy because like we don't know what that feels like. In DC, I mean, when was the last time you heard the Redskins or the Wizards won a championship? It's like, this is all new to me. So outside these windows, you hear people screaming. It's crazy. It's a parade. It's like, for them, it's common. But no, yeah, I just wanted to kind of make my own money, kind of do my own thing. I want to find a way to travel the world, right? So I was like, the only way I could do it, this is perfect. People get married in Missouri. I'm going to Missouri. As long as, you know, they have to pay, it's unfortunate, but it's just how it works, you know. We try to offer the best deal possible. We're very, very competitive compared to, like, well, I'm not going to say their names, but we're very, very, our price point's ridiculous. Like, I'm pretty much trying to get my name out even more that I'll take less, you know. So it's like, we're trying to make our brand. We want people to look good because if you look good, you're going to show everybody where you got it from. So it looks good for me. It looks good for the brand. And that's pretty much how I started as well. We kind of drifted away from that. But yeah, I was in Hong Kong, the leather goods show, and I just found a supplier there. So he's like, hey man, nice suit. I told the story many times. So the guy I was wearing a Hugo Boss suit. You know, for me, $600 for a suit was expensive as hell.
Yeah.
That didn't even include the tailor had to kind of modify some things. The sleeves were a bit long. You know, back then I used to actually lift weights. I actually work out. So like they would expect somebody with a certain neck size to be a little bit taller. You know, I'm only like 5'8", so it's like it wasn't the right fitment all around. You know, and then you had to adjust stuff. So I spent a lot of money for that suit. Turns out the fabric wasn't all that. It was just the name Hugo Boss that I paid for. So the guy walks over, he touches my fabric, he's like, nice suit. But he was being sarcastic, so I was like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? So he's like, he showed me the whole process, and he's like, whenever you want to come learn. So we started out just talking online, and then I went to Hong Kong, Shanghai, Suzhou, Japan. Wow. I've learned from a lot of tailors. So now our main tailors and our main team as well is from Hong Kong. But we have suppliers in Japan that we get our Bamberg lining from. So our lining's made from 100% Japanese Bamberg lining. Wow. So we're using high grade materials, even, you know, real horn buttons on our suits. So it's like you're paying, we should be charging a lot more if my name is Tom Ford. But, you know, I don't also want to become that brand where it identifies as like charging thousands of dollars for a suit. I want everybody to be able to afford a suit, but sometimes you have to pay for the product because it costs me money. I can't lose money. I have kids.
Of course, yeah.
I have a kid. One kid, sorry, that I have to support. I have a family. I have dreams of my own. You know, these trips aren't cheap. They're not free. So I have to find a way, you know, to balance it out. But I'm not looking to overprice mark up everything just because, you know, of the name of the brand. You know, we're not even at that level yet. But still, it's like that's how I started out. That's exactly how I started.
It's an interesting point that you bring up about, you know, where a lot of people will just go out and pay for the brand name. Like, I've got a lot of friends that, you know, and I'll go shopping with them. We'll go to whether it's Saks Fifth Avenue or Nordstrom Rack, any of these kind of big box retail stores, and they'll be like, oh, Alexan, like, I want to go get a Tom Ford suit, or I want to go get, you know, a Gucci suit, or, you know, I don't even think Gucci makes actual kind of business suits, but, you know, they're focused on the brand name, and I'm telling them, guys, why do you want to wear something that's made in a factory in China? And that's not anything, you know, against, you know, Chinese manufacturing. I'm going to get to that in a second. But why would you want something that's made by other people? All you're doing is paying for a label. Like, Tom Ford didn't make your suit. If you want Tom Ford to make your suit, it's going to cost you at least $13,000, if not way more. Yeah, way more.
His off the rack is like at $7,000, and Neiman Marcus and all that. He's actually the guy. We'll get to that later. But he's a great designer, man. He's influenced me so much, and yeah, we'll get to that topic. But that's just that. Sometimes name brands are good, and they've earned that title. They've earned the price tag. But sometimes you're right. You're just paying for the name of the brand, not even the quality of the suit. Like I did, Hugo Boss. It's a big name. You know, I thought it was the shit back then wearing that suit. Sorry if I cuss, but I felt like I felt like I was somebody in that suit, but it wasn't even fitted that right.
Exactly.
And it wasn't even the quality. Like, it was just because I thought, oh, everybody's gonna know I'm wearing Hugo Boss. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Especially, you know, where does your kind of philosophy on fit versus brand? You know, would you rather see people, and I can kind of leading you towards the answer a little bit, I think, but, you know, I have a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, give me this, it may not fit that well, I'll go get it altered, versus, you know, I'm wearing a $200 tailor suit right now. It's not made out of the best materials, it's not made out of, you know, anything really special, but it fits great, and when I go out, people are like, oh wow, like, where'd you get this custom suit from? I'm like, well, you know, if you really want to know, like, tailor Black Friday deal, you know, and that's kind of what I'm doing, is testing out different brands to see, you know, how on par can we get with the measurements straight off the bat.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, good for you. I mean, the suit looks great. It looks way better than that Hugo Boss suit I paid $600 for. It looks amazing. I think it's a great suit.
Thank you.
You could have lied to me and say Luciano Canali made it or some big name brand made it, but like, it's a Zegna, so you could have told me. I would have believed it. It's a good suit. The difference is, you know, when you fill it, and then there's so many details that go into making the suit, from the fabrics and every little thing, from the sourcing of where are they going to get the sheep from, how long is the threading of the suit, and like
the weight
and
stuff.
So many complexes that go into the quality, that there's actually a reason why some people pay a lot of money for the brand. But then there's brands like this that they use, you know, maybe blended fabrics, or even they still could use 100% wools, but just because they don't come from mills like Dormiel, that sometimes those wools are really high end, but sometimes you're just paying for the name brand as well. You know, sometimes you could get the same wool made in Pakistan for similar quality, but it's made in Pakistan, so no tailor in Italy is gonna sell it.
And I've kind of noticed that too as I've been looking. There's a whole ton of these, you know, made to measure. They'll call them custom. They'll call them semi bespoke. and I'll kind of get to that question in a second. But, there's so many brands out there that are pitching, Vitaly Barberis Canonico, Ariston, Dormier, as you said earlier. And you can start to see, you're going to pay for the brand. Where do these fabrics actually fall? And, kind of what should you be paying for it?
So definitely pay for the fabric and pay for the reputation of the brand. Okay. So if the brand has a good reputation, for example, Rubinacci in Italy.
Yes.
He's in New York right now, and then he's going to a trunk show in Miami a couple of days from now. So I'm doing similar things as he's doing. He's doing trunk shows where he visits people from all over the country, right? So I think if you're paying for Rubinacci to tailor your suit, he could use the same fabric as them. His reputation and his quality. And what you get out of him is a relationship. That's the thing that I really like about the Italians. It's a relationship. He's like the third generation Rubinacci, so it's like his great grandpa is probably got the same clients that he's getting in New York that are his great grandsons. It's like a family tradition, and they took care of him. They came out to them. They made them a quality suit. Any problems they have with the suit, he'll fix it right away in a heartbeat. He'll fly to New York to fix that problem because it's about the relationships. And that's what you don't get at Brooks Brothers and places like that. For people like us, it's like we care about relationships. Sometimes you got to pay more for something like that. It's like you're a therapist.
Yeah.
You get an online, you could read a book, or you could get somebody in person to kind of be more personal about it, right?
True.
So ours is very relationship. And relationships is also how the brand, I think, is going to grow the best. Because, we want to take care of you. If you've ever stuck in the road somewhere, it's not like we're going to all come to Boston to rescue you from your tire, but, that if something happens to your suit, like a stain, and you need it by a certain date, or you have a date coming up, you could call me hey Camilo, please. And if I could possibly fly out with the suit, if it's faster than shipping it, I've done it before. I've done it to Vegas. I've been to Vegas with the suit because it was quicker to drop it off over with a one flight round trip, just for one guy, because he was a good client, and that's how you build clientele, because you're entrepreneurs. You don't know, people think about pennies. That's the biggest mistake I think a business owner can make, is thinking about pennies. You think about the little dollars here and there. Oh, I'm going to charge him $35 extra for this little monogram. No, this guy is a good client. He said he's going to bring you more people. He's even brought you another person. Hook him up with the monogramming, man. He's a really good guy. Take care of him,
And that's the thing, too, I think, right? We're talking about relationships. And as I'm going through and testing out all these different brands, and it's and mind you, I haven't done a whole lot of the, interacting with actual people making these, so kind of the real made to measure. I know that there's some programs of people that are out there that they all go through one sourcing, and they've got kind of different distributions and things like that. Yeah. But I really think it is about the relationship, because if I think about it for myself personally, why do there'll be a few people, I'd want to get a Rubinacci suit one day. I'd like to go to Kiton and get a suit made there one day. So that, there's a few kind of grail places that I would like to go to get suits. But most of the time, you want to know that you're in the right hands of somebody that knows exactly what your measurements are. You can go there for anything you need, whether it's your winter wardrobe, your summer wardrobe, you want even a tuxedo for your wedding made special. Yeah. You start building that relationship, and I think that's something that not only lasts for the life of that client, but now I'm telling my friends, or I'm, bringing my kids in to get you to see things like that. So I can kind of appreciate the relationship aspect of this.
That's big for us. We get to meet your fiance that you're about to get married to, and they're depending on me to come through the wedding date perfectly altered and measured. So it's a lot of pressure on me, but it's they got to learn to trust me, and then once they learn to trust me, then now we built that relationship where he came through for my wedding. It was last minute thing too. I don't know how he did it, but he came over. He even dropped it off in Vegas. It's about relationships a lot. That's this business. It's all about. You could say it's salesmanship, but it is like salesmanship, because I have to meet people and interact with people and market it, right? So it's like sales kind of thing, I guess. But, yeah.
Now, I was watching a video on your website yesterday, and you were talking about how you're a fashion designer. And what I want to ask you specifically is, people say fashion is all about cycles, right? Especially with the Pitti Uomo conference that has been going on for years now, more and more people are writing up articles saying this is just for fashion designers to go in and pump out as much product as possible. So do you see yourself falling kind of more within the fashion space, or more kind of the menswear space? So creating those more kind of timeless pieces that, if I buy a suit from you now, isn't going to go out of style next season.
Yeah, for sure. I know that you're saying, okay, so you're either two left or two right? I'm more, I can't say I'm in between. I don't want to be Brooks Brothers. I'm not Brooks Brothers. Look at me. I'm tatted up. I have chains. I have gold. Like, I wear chains and boots to meetings. Like, that's just who I am. You know, it's like I feel like I am kind of closer to the designer side because I don't want to be known as that guy. Okay. But then I'm kind of modernizing old school. This is my dream because I see like the lapels bigger, which is my thing too. I love that, man. I like looking at like the movie Casino back, and that's my favorite movie. Yeah, you know,
there we go. Yeah.
Big collars, big thing. But then the fitment back in the day was not the best. That wouldn't work well today. It's like looking at the 1990 NBA draft. Their sleeves are perfect length. But then the rest of their stuff is like all baggy and stuff, right? But then I like they used to have the big lapels, they used to have the big collars, the flashiness, right? I like flashy. I love flashy. I want you to walk around that suit, people like, where did you get that, right? I know you like flashy. Look at the colors. Yeah. So like I like flashy, and I want people to know it's flashy. You know, like I like flashy, and I want to modernize the old school look, but bring a modern fit to it. How about that? High armholes. Look at my armholes. They're high as hell. I can't get into a fight in this. Punch you in. Look at that. I can't even defend myself. My armholes are so high up because I like the fit. I like slimmer fit. I like your shoulders to look bigger, right? Especially because I'm not 6'5". So I like my shoulders to look bigger. I like everything. I like my arms to look a lot longer, not like T-Rex arms. I like my armholes higher. So I like bringing modern look, aka skinny jean look, but then I'm bringing it to the suits, kind of like higher armholes, even for bigger guys, bringing higher armholes because their arms will look longer. Yeah, they're gonna look big. They're gonna look better all around. Because if your arms look shorter, it doesn't look good to your shoulders, and it's more proportion. So I'm just bringing the old school look because I like pant cuffs. I love pleats on my pants. I like pant cuffs. I don't like doing the no sock look. I don't like any of that stuff. So I like old school. You see, sometimes I like old school. I like wearing like a nice shirt. I don't like ties. Sometimes I have to wear ties, but like I like cuffs. I like, you see everything looks like old school, but then you see this kid walking around with tattoos. How about that? That's the look that I'm looking for. You're just like, you're gonna see that guy that's like, what the hell? Like, he's like, he like looks clean, like as if he's like executive without the tie, but then he's like, has all this stuff going on, like 5 buttons and stuff. That's my goal. That's my ultimate goal. That's what I'm identified as, and who the hell cares? I don't want to be that Brooks Brothers guy. If I become a millionaire doing that, which hopefully, I mean, I'll take it. But like, you know, it's not what I want.
So, what would you say your kind of biggest inspiration within the industry is? You know, you were talking about Casino a second ago, and for me, I mean, that's kind of what got me into this whole thing as well, right? I would see Ace Rossington walking around in the green suit, and you know, my grandpa's like well known within our family and his friend group for having this green blazer, and you know, you could always identify when it was him, and that's kind of, you know, what solidified, you know, my interest and passion for this and going out and reviewing these different things is that, look, I know that, you know, there's a certain thing to say that you command respect yourself, but when you also look the part, right, that's when it ties it all together. You're like, I'm the boss right now.
Exactly.
Like, this is how you get the respect that, you know, you're looking for. So, you know, aside from Robert De Niro, you know, who are your biggest inspirations that you have within the industry?
Okay, so I like Jung-Ho Shin. So it's a b&tailors from Korea.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of them.
They're huge in Korea. They're huge in Asia. They're huge in Europe. They're not that big in the U.S., but they're big. Everybody in Asia wears those suits. Those tailors, especially Jung-Ho Shin, he's like their master tailor. He travels all around the world, and it's like the best tailor I've ever seen in my life. For when it comes to creating garments, like custom bespoke, he's like the top of the line guy, right? But then when it comes to the design aspect and the way he's built his brand, Tom Ford. I'm all about Tom Ford, man. He likes the same style as me, big, wide lapels. To be honest, if it wasn't for Tom Ford, man, I wouldn't be doing this stuff. I love Tom Ford, man. You know, I love the guy. He's an awesome guy. Like, hopefully get to meet him one day. I would be the happiest man on earth. Even if I wore a Tom Ford suit, and even though I'm kind of like a competitor. So Tom Ford is a guy that has directed movies. He's designed runway, women's wear, men's wear. Every time you see a 007 movie, Tom Ford is the designer they ask for. The Queen asked for Tom Ford. Like, Tom Ford is the designer that every designer wants to be. He's the guy, as soon as you say Tom Ford, he's the guy that every designer aspires to be one day. He's so influential to all of us. He's like our LeBron James. He's our Tom Brady, our Messi, Ronaldo. He's our guy. He's like our GOAT. How about that? His style is incredible. Like, everything he brings is just, I like his style. It's kind of like what we were talking about. It's like modernizing old school looks. He has the big flashy lapels, the different type of design, pocket squares, the way he just dresses is like old school, but like he brings a new cut to the game, right?
On your website, you've got kind of this. What is your philosophy about menswear? And what you have a tagline on the evolution of man.
Yeah, so the evolution of man is kind of like how I started. I didn't know anything about suits growing up. Even before I got that Hugo Boss suit, I never knew anything about that. But it brings like a status to you. You walk around the store in a suit, people look at you differently.
True.
Everywhere you go, it's like you're kind of evolutioning the cycle until you get to that level where you're just like, you're the man now. Like you're not just the man, you're just like becoming the man now. You're walking around in suits. People see your status. At that point in your life, you're usually getting promoted and you're working your way up, or you're starting new things in life, right? So I feel like when you're wearing a Milo Andres suit, it's like your evolution. You're transforming into like the man. Your status will automatically rise, not just because of what you have in your bank account, but because the way you look and the way you're gonna feel. You're gonna feel more confident. You're gonna go up to that girl you wouldn't want to go up to. You're gonna wear that suit. I remember the first time I got a custom suit. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to go anywhere. I was like, can we please go to like the grocery store? Like I was like, let's go anywhere you want. All I want to do is walk around and people look at me in that suit. You know how it feels. So it's like
suit of armor. That's how I think of it. You go in, whether it's a job interview or you're presenting to clients, you've got a big presentation you got to do. You want to get suited and booted to give you the confidence that you need internally to go and be the badass that that you are. Whether it's work or your job, if you're going after girls, whatever the case may be. The suit is going to be the thing that's going to give you that, bolster that extra amount of confidence to get you there.
It's crazy how some fabric can make you feel so much more comfortable, Like I could take off this jacket and put on a t-shirt. I'm a Latin American guy, so people are going to look at me already differently, right? But if I wear a tank top, people look at me differently. I have tattoos everywhere. But when I wear this suit, people look at me a lot differently. Not that that's what I care about, but at the end of the day, it's just what people see. The first thing they see is when they look at you, that's a big influential of what you feel about them, right?
First impression.
Yeah, first impression kind of thing. So it's like, I want people to walk out with this suit on. Like, I'm never going to take it off. I don't want to take it off. They feel so confident. They want to wear it everywhere they go. They want to walk by, all the women that turned them down before just to see them, They just want to have it on, you know? And it just feels more confident. You're going to go to that Tinder date more confident. You're going to go out with your fiance on that night wearing that custom suit on that special date night, right? Because you just feel better. Everything's more it's not saying bougie, but you just you feel wow.
Well, it's funny. I get the bougie comment a lot, and I think we need to do a better job of educating people. It's not that don't think about it as the money that we're spending on this, right? It's more of an investment piece, and when I mention cost per wear to people, they're like, what do you mean by that? I just went out and bought, these $500 Gucci loafers. I'm like, okay, how many times are you actually going to wear these loafers before they either A, get trashed, you somehow break them and grow out of them. Half of them you can't even take to a cobbler to get repaired. Yeah. So, and for me, I'm a bigger guy too, and I see some of these loafers, I'd love to buy a pair of Tod's, or I'd love to buy some Ferragamo's or Gucci loafers, and they have all the little nubs on them. Yeah. And I'm a big loafer fan. I'm like, I can't wear these. I'm going to kill them in 3 months, and then I'm already out $400, $500, $600. There's no point to buy them for me. Versus going to somewhere that's got, a Goodyear welted type of a construction, or even a Blake Station construction, right? Pure leather sole. I can get them resold, take them to a cobbler, and I can kind of make the pair my own, and they can kind of grow with me as time goes on.
Yeah, it's not always about the price of what you're paying for. Sometimes sometimes you pay more for not as good quality, just for the brand, right?
True.
So it's what we're talking about, because I've had shoes that lasted me longer from some cheaper brands, So it's but I understand status. It even goes back to middle school or high school. Think about when the kids were wearing the Shacks. Yeah. People would get destroyed back then for wearing Shacks when I was a kid.
Well, even now, look at the Yeezy culture, right?
Yeezy, yeah.
Everybody's trying to get their hands on Yeezys, and it's you look at the shoes, you look at the construction, and, I know because my brother used to be in the reselling game and everything else, and you could see, okay, a pair might last a year, but that's with, moderate wear. Yeah. People wear these out clubbing, they wear them to go to the gym. It's you're going to destroy them that much quicker. Right. And, there's certain things you can't control. You got to, some person dumps their drink on you, your shoes may as well be toast. You can try and clean them, but they're never going to look the same.
Also, if they don't have that much disposable income, sometimes you just want to wear it to try to act like you're a certain status. Yeah. But you could have bought 10 different colorways, and then you could have actually look better because you're styling
rotated them, different things like that.
Like you're wearing white with that. I could wear these black with something else. But say I wouldn't spend all that money on boots, then I would have spent a little less on some cheaper brands.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes I guess quality is not as important nowadays when it comes to style. 'Cause some people like to go to Forever 21 or like H&M. You know, you're not paying quality there. You're just recycling styles. You know, you always want to wear something fresh, right? I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is your definition of success?
My definition of success is being able to maintain my family, like being able to support the family. If I could support the family, then that's it. Maybe I have enough money to go to like season tickets for like the Wizards. You know, nice near courtside seat. That'll be all right. Yeah, that's all I ask for. Season tickets to the Wizards and maybe a nice huge mansion up in Potomac, Maryland. Or
Nice.
Something.
There you go.
So that's where we're getting to.
Now, there's two words that are thrown around within the kind of menswear and fashion spaces, and I kind of want to get your interpretation of what these two words mean. The first one is sprezzatura, right? I hear this one a lot, and you know, it's kind of my understanding is it's everyone's kind of own way of expressing themselves, right? What would your definition of sprezzatura be?
I guess it is like a definition of expressing your own. It is like expressing yourself, but how do you express yourself, I guess? How am I expressing myself? That's what I think it defines. How am I going to express myself? Yeah.
And then the next one would be sartorial.
Okay, sartorial.
Yeah.
Sartorial is more like a craft, kind of like giving a lot. It's like generations of just caring about something and becoming, you know, perfected over time, and it's just like craft and history all goes into sartorial. So I think it's like a respectful term to people in our industry. It's like, you know, it just shows like craft and hard work. You know, that's pretty much what I would define it as, hard work and craft.
Okay.
Yeah. So like keep giving a huge, you know what. So that's what I think it is.
Where does your brand fall on kind of the spectrum between, we have off the rack, we've got the made to measure / custom, I kind of lump the two of those together, and then a full on bespoke where you're going through, you know, it's a full pattern, multiple fittings, all that good stuff, the ultimate of customizations.
Yeah, so the difference between us is we're not in a store that we hire people off the street most of the time. It's mostly myself doing everything, right? So I have a lot of experience, right? So we do offer the bespoke service, but it's very, very expensive. So a lot of people, they're gonna pay $5,000 and up for the bespoke service, right? But sometimes it's not really worth it if you could have an experienced made-to-measure specialist who could do the same type of fittings with less, you know, work, right? If he's experienced enough to do that fitting in twice, maybe three fittings and perfect it, just from looking at you, just from knowing how the fabric, because some fabrics are actually completely different. Some fabrics stretch to your skin a little better. Some fabrics are a little bit tighter on your you know. So you have to kind of look at the guy and know him, right? And that's what bespoke goes in. They kind of bring it back to the tailors. That's why they're multiple fittings for somebody else to kind of fix it, right? So like I think if you're a custom made to measure brand that has somebody that's very experienced, so if you have like a master tailor, and even in the Indochino store who maybe used to make suits in Korea or Japan, he's gonna be maybe better than some bespoke guys because he has experience of how the fabric stretches to your body. Some people have a bigger shoulder up here. He could just look at you and already know how it's gonna fit and if it's gonna have that little fold over on the back.
Yeah.
He just knows from looking at you in a couple fittings less than doing fully bespoke, because fully bespoke is too expensive. I have to fly to you 4 or 5 fittings, right? Just to get your sleeves attached. I have to measure your sleeves in a separate fitting. I have to measure your width of your lapel based on the exact specifications. But if I could look at you and get the measurements correct, we don't need to do multiple fittings like that. We offer that service, but it's going to start at $5,000 because I'm going to have to fly to you 5 times, and then you're going to have to come to me sometimes, and it's just too expensive. And it costs me more money to make. It's way more expensive. And we're not going to use our Super 120 fabrics or Super 140 fabrics for that. We only do that for Dormiel or like high-end if somebody comes up to me and is like, I want the Zegnia brand, I'm not gonna even risk doing made to measure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna take 30 measurements. We're gonna do multiple fittings, and I'm gonna tell you it's gonna cost you a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But if we get those clients and they want to pay for it and they want that Zegnia brand, because I'm not gonna risk wasting that fabric. Because if I mess up that fabric, that's expensive fabric. Like Zegnia, those houses are too expensive. You know what I'm talking about? Like they're not like the lower end, like Italian brands, like the Dino Fiarte, which are still good brands, but like they're like the top of the line. Like
yeah, they're the cream of the crop.
It's gonna cost me $2,000 something just to make it for you. So like imagine if I mess it up off made to measures and it's just screwed up. You can't keep stretching fabric, and then it gets too fine. Like you go up to like Super 150s.
Oh yeah.
The thing is they look good, but they're so thin. They're so thin. Don't ever get over Super 150s. If you get Super 160s or 180s or 200s, they have 250s. It's too light, man. Like if unless that tailor does perfect job off the bespoke, right? I wouldn't. Nobody would make to measure a Super 200s because too many fittings, too much stretching. It stretches after so much thread. The threading is so thin, and so fragile. It's such a high end threading, right? But the thing is that it's gonna expand too much, and then when you start maybe altering it and stretching it out, it's gonna start to rip the fibers, and you don't want that. So definitely don't. If you come to me and you want Zegnia fabrics, or you want like Dormiel or some higher end fabrics, something that's like 17.5 microns or something like that, those cost me so much money that I'm not saying that we're not great at made to measure, but then when we do the alteration process, it costs me too much of a headache because the fabric is so fragile to alter. Then we're gonna risk ripping it apart, and then once it's ripped, that fabric is so expensive. We just lost $2,000 some or more. I'm telling you our number, everybody's numbers. Everybody has the same prices. Go buy Zegnia in Italy right now, and you'll see how much the average amount of thread you need and how much fabric you need. It's too expensive, so that has to be bespoke, and only somebody that's super experienced can make something that high end. If you have a kid that you hired off the street, you just applied to become made to measure specialist at your store, Indochino or Suit Supply. Nobody would ever trust that kid to do a super 200s or 250s. Not saying that those are also even higher end suits. Sometimes they're cheaper fabrics that are super 200s or 250s, right? But it's where it's coming from. Sometimes that's actually a big deal. Sometimes the brand is important. How about that? Sometimes it means something, right? Like if you get like a nice like Canali suit, you know that they make their fabrics and like those are high end. So much reputation goes into why it costs so much money. But like don't ever get something that high end off a store that only offers made to measure, unless the guy in there is like, yeah, I used to make suits and we're gonna make it fully bespoke. We're gonna go through multiple fittings. We're gonna, before we even start putting the canvas on, we're gonna first just start taking measurements one at a time of your like lapels, and we're not even gonna attach the sleeves till like the fourth fitting. So like that's the guy you want for fully bespoke, and that's why you pay a lot of money for bespoke. It's not always about that it's higher end, because you're the same store, Suit Supply, could have the same fabric as a bespoke guy. Yeah. But the thing is that it's about the exact fit. But if the made to measure specialist already has the experience, you don't really need to pay that much more money. People pay that much more money for the experience sometimes, but you don't need to do multiple fittings at that level unless the guy is that experienced. To be honest, you could pay $5,000 for a suit on Savile Row, but the guy up in New York, Manhattan, could charge you $1,000, and his might end up being a little better. It might even be better fabric. It's sometimes you pay for the experience of bespoke, and it won't fit you as good sometimes, even as the other guy. You see some guys wearing bespoke, and it doesn't even fit them right. It just doesn't even that's bespoke. You're like, what the hell? But it's because it's just how the system works. It's just it costs more money for everybody, and it's like more traditional. People used to do that all the time. Made to measure cuts a lot of corners. We kind of depend on the first measurements and the alteration process to kind of get everything pulled up together. But have somebody that's experienced in both industries, in the bespoke, and you don't have to worry about none of that, because he would know what he's doing already. Because we have multiple people that have longer arms on the right, longer arms on their left. I know people that their chest is just bigger than the rest of their body. We're men, we're all different. So an experienced made to measure specialist can do something that a bespoke guy can do, honestly. Yeah, because he's not making the suit. Unless he's the guy actually crafting your suit. How many guys out there nowadays, like if you buy a Tom Ford suit, he's not the one making your bespoke suit. Zegnia, the original designer for Zegna is not making your suit. They have tailors that they've hired, and that's their team. That's part of the brand, right? It's all part of the brand. But yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. So now diving into kind of your more made-to-measure offering, what does that process look like? Do you have tailors on site? Are you outsourcing a lot of this work? What does that look like for a potential client coming in from beginning to end?
Yeah, so from beginning to end, we meet, we look up fabrics, we look up designs. Sometimes you come in with designs of your own. I saw this Instagram post, I really like this, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. I had a guy come in with like a photo of his great-grandpa or something wearing a suit. I was like, I like the design of it. I could find something as close to possible as the fabric, and maybe I could design it the exact same way. So if you want like the lapel to look like this, this tiny, or you don't want even a lapel, you want it to look more Mandarin style, you want no button, collar, everything you bring to me, it's cut from the moment you order it. So from the moment you order, my team and I, we design the whole suit. That's what we talk about. We're designing. I'm the main designer. I'm the one that looks at you and tells you what you should and shouldn't be doing. So you come to my office with your dream wedding suit, and I look at your body type, and I'm just like looking at different aspects, and I'm designing it as we go. So it's similar to the made-to-measure process, only that we're experienced. We know the whole process. We start the whole process ourselves. So we source our own fabrics too.
Okay.
Yeah, so we buy fabrics in bulk. So that's why every time you order from me, some places they call themselves made to measure. They have the jackets already ready to go, and then they just do little alterations. We don't do that.
Okay.
We're full made to measure, half canvas, full canvas suits. So I only recommend full canvas.
So now going to the difference between full canvas and half canvas, and a lot of places that I've looked up on, when they say when you're buying your first made-to-measure suit, especially online experiences, always opt for the half canvas first.
Yeah, it's like saying, get a latte or an iced coffee. And I'm a coffee addict, so as you can tell, I'm Colombian and I'm addicted to coffee, so I need help, man. Like I've had like 4 cups already. So there's a difference between a latte and an iced coffee. Iced coffee, it's brewed, it's dripped, right? And then they just pour it in with some milk, right? A latte is espresso, has more flavor in my opinion. Cold brew, more flavor, more work goes into it, right? So I think it's a similar concept. You know, it's like, I don't know, I just think it's like.
So in the line, I mean, I guess, if we're taking the anatomy of a suit, right, and we're doing full canvas, is it more structure throughout the panels? Is it?
Yeah, so the good thing about wool, this is why they use wool for suits. Some people like cotton or linen, but that's why wool is the go-to for everybody. You know why? Because over time, it starts to shape to your body. It starts to memorize your body. So if it's fully canvas, it starts to memorize your body type. Okay. Over time, it's going to start to shape differently. This has been used so long that it's already shaping to my body a little bit better, you see? I used to be a little bit more muscular, so it's a little bit looser now. But the thing is, the canvas is always going to memorize your body type, and it's going to last longer. It's not going to have any bubbling or any issues with the suit. And it's going to actually memorize your body type over time. So it's actually better for the quality of it, because it actually has some more support for the wool, and it actually drapes better to your body type. I think it's a better drape.
Now, in terms of canvas, what does that have? Does that affect breathability in any way? Like, for example, you're in a very summer climate, and you're someone who, sweats a lot, right?
Okay, so that's the difference between the weight.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't get something that weighs 280 grams and higher. You know why? Because then it's not breathing. Wool always breathes. Like sheep fur, like whatever the fur, the fur, it's always breathing. That's why when it gets wet, it shrinks a little bit. But that's why that we use this. That's why this is kind of like waterproof. It's even like flame resistant. Don't try it at home, but it's flame resistant. Because the example is like, over time, if you get heavier weights, right, it's not going to breathe as easier, and it's too thick as well. So like, just make sure the weight of your suit, for somebody like a summer suit, try to get under 265 grams. Okay. That's the type of weight you want for your summer suit, because you can wear it in the summer. In the cold time, it's going to be a little bit thinner. So year-round suit, maybe 270, 280 grams. Okay. And that's what you should look for, not the canvassing. Canvassing, it adds some component to it, but it's more about the whole fit. Okay. It affects the fitment and the quality.
So you could still get a full canvas suit and, be in, dead heat of, 80 to 90 degree summer heat.
As long as the weight of the fabric isn't too high. Okay. Yeah, like that looks a little bit like maybe 280s.
Yeah, this is kind of thick. They said that this was linen online. I looked at it, I'm like, this is not linen.
Maybe it's blend.
I think it's a blend.
Yeah, it has like a shine to it. It's I like it though, man.
No, and you know what? The only problem I have with it, the measurements are all great. The only problem is I can only lift this high. It's as high as I can lift my arms in it. So, if, whether the armholes were higher.
That's a good
Actually,
thing.
that's a good one. Talk to us about what higher armholes actually does.
I like armholes that are high. It looks like your arms are longer. You look bigger. You look more. If your arms look short, like if you see your grandpa's suit, or even some of my older clients, they come in with their suits. They usually get like Nordstrom or Bloomingdale's or even Macy's. Even look at Donald Trump. His arms are like, right here looks baggy up here, right? So then your arms look shorter. Unless you're a tall guy, that doesn't look good. So I'm not like 6'5". If my arms look taller, I look bigger. It's kind of like when they say wearing skinny jeans make you look taller, right?
Yeah.
They say that, right? Like if you're wearing baggy clothes, you look shorter. So if your armholes are lower, your arms look shorter. But if your arms look longer, your shoulders pop out more, your whole frame looks better. You just look very presentable. As long as your pants aren't too baggy, everything's just like narrow, right? So it just looks prettier. You look better in it. That's what I'm saying. We can't fight in these suits. But like if we had lower armholes, we'll be able to do whatever we want, right? But
so higher armholes would be less movability, but lower armholes allows you to really
your arms look short. Your arms look baggy. This part right here looks baggy. Your arms look very like short. So unless you're 6 foot something, it doesn't look good. And even if you're 6 foot something, it doesn't look good. The longer your arms look, the better. The longer your legs look, the better, right? No matter how tall you are. If I can make you look a little bit bigger, it looks better because people they like to look bigger, right? It's just how it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If I was 2 inches taller, I'd be dunking. I would. Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about kind of what the process looks like. So we're coming in, we're selecting our fabrics. Now talk to us about kind of the fitting process, how many, alterations it would take, so and also what that time frame is like. I know you're telling me earlier that you've got multiple trips come back to Boston to meet with clients. So end to end of me reaching out to you, say, hey Camilo, I'm very interested in buying a suit, let me come in for my first fitting, how long till I actually get a finished product that I can then go out and wear?
So depends on your time and my time.
Okay.
So when we go over out of Maryland or DC DMV area, it has to be planned a little bit quicker. So how long can we meet? So our first fitting will require us about 18 to 25 days to construct your first garment, right? Not finished, just ready to go besides alterations, right? After that process, we have to wait for the alteration process. So it depends on what it needs. Usually if it's somebody experienced like me or if I have a salesman, they know what they're doing. So like the alteration process is very quick. If I have to alter your sleeves, it takes us a day. If I have to alter your shoulders, then we screwed up.
We've talked about what the end-to-end kind of process looks like, but for our viewers, compared to other made-to-measure retailers where you've got a predetermined we'll call it a model that they're going to then fit you to, and either slim in the sleeves, slim up the waist, everything else. Are you designing custom patterns for people?
Yeah, we're designing custom patterns. So we're cutting out fabric, multiple canvases of your whole body type. So we have your shoulders, your arms, and then we start sewing it all together. So that's the difference. Like some places they say they're custom, but they're not really custom. So always ask these questions anywhere you go. If you choose me, hopefully you see that we're more personal. We're gonna get to talk. We're not the big Louis Vuitton brand yet. We want to become big one day. But everybody starts somewhere. I'm first generation. We started this in 2016, so it's like we're trying to build that clientele base. But yeah, if you choose us, it's all custom. Everything, every detail's custom.
Awesome.
So I'm saying, if you want this arm to be up to here for some reason, you just want to look like an idiot, whatever. You want the arm to stop here, I'll do it. And then this arm's regular, like whatever. It's custom. You do whatever you want, like everything you want. You want these lapels to like a weird cut, I'll cut it. Like whatever you want, even if you don't want a lapel. Just want to be different. That's the difference between us and a lot of brands. So, yeah, definitely all 100% custom. Yeah.
And now when it comes to price point, where do you see most of, what's the cost of entry for someone coming in, first time client?
For us or for like brand or for like the average? Custom?
Yeah, for you.
For us, it starts at, we have a good price. Starts at $499.99.
Wow.
2-piece garment with alterations included.
That's huge.
I'm pretty much giving the stuff away. But because we're using good fabrics. But if you want, that's where we start at. I try to hook people up the first time because I know what it could lead to. This guy we just met in Boston earlier bought his friend a suit.
Yeah.
He's buying another suit later tonight. So I kind of took care of him. He's taking care of me. He's bringing me people. I'm all here in Boston. I don't know a lot of people. I don't even know the neighborhoods. I get out of here. I don't know where I'm going. If I don't have Google Maps, I'm lost. So it's not easy to meet people and sell, right? Especially if you don't know anybody around here.
Sure.
So I take care of people. And then they return. They come back. They're happy. They post online or they talk about me. it looks good for me. Like my big client, first big guy was Timothy De La Ghetto.
Okay.
He's the first person that like posted me online. That was a big name, and he got me so many clients from Baltimore, Maryland, from all over DC, Virginia. I'm doing weddings just because of him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I saw you on that YouTube channel. The kid that was just here saw me on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're like, I liked it, man. He's like, I go to Indochino, but I want to go to you now.
Well, you know, that was my experience. I've been to Indochino, I've been to Suit Supply, I got measured and everything. I'm looking at these things, and I'm very picky. So I need to, for me at least, is I know I'm spending X amount of dollars, and I know what I'm looking for to get, you know, out of that. You know, I hate when I will lift my arms and we get what's called chest bulge, where this will start going like this. I'm like, I just spent, you know, $400 or $600 on a suit. Why is this even happening right now?
They don't know usually. When it's a made-to-measure guy, they just hired him maybe the first year, second year. That's when you have to have the experienced tailor who knows how the construction works. If they don't know the construction at an entry level, like made-to-measure, measurer guy, whatever they want to call him, those guys will tell you, like, oh yeah, like, this is how we were taught, like, how to measure stuff, but they don't know where it comes. It's kind of like a car. A mechanic will tell you a lot about how it works and stuff, but the salesman might not know everything about how the mechanics work. He might know, like, the basic list that the GM manufacturer told him to sell. But, like, does he know every little nicks and knacks about it? The mechanic might know. Or the guy that made the car, right? So, like, if there was, like, that's when you go to bespoke, usually the guy that's measuring you, he's the one making it, or his team is making it with him. So, like, you know, he knows everything you're talking about. He'll tell you why. Like, oh, we have to cut this down, maybe less. Up here, you know, maybe this button, we should extend it out more. Instead of having the hole at a standard rate, we're going to push it a little bit farther so you don't have that bulge. So it all depends. And then, but then usually when you avoid that bulge, your chest is a little bit tighter though. And some people don't like that. But sometimes you have to avoid certain things, and that's the only way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gone through kind of end to end. We've talked about, you know, what your process looks like, the choosing the fabrics, that time frame, and then, you know, that you're making completely custom patterns. You know, what is your greatest challenge been in, you know, you said you started in 2016, so in the past, you know, 2 to early 3 years, you know, what's the greatest challenge been for you?
The greatest challenge at first was finding sales, because you can't have a portfolio yet without making sales. So, like, everybody's like, okay, so, like, can you show me your portfolio? And you're just like, yeah, I mean, I did this guy's wedding once, and you show him one picture, it's like, okay. And it's like, you know, over time, when you get referrals, it gets easier. Oh, man, I saw Rob's wedding. You know, that was amazing, man. You made that suit? Yeah. You're making my wedding suit. That right there is like that sells it for you, right? But, like, that's what we were saying. We got to take care of our people. The more people that are wearing it, the more people they'll see and they'll talk about it, right? Everybody wants to talk about it. So, like, the thing is, like, over time, hopefully we're at that level where now it's about time. Can we get to everybody on time sometimes? Can we come through on time? That's my biggest fear always. It's like delivering on time. Because some people have limited time. We usually ask for that time frame. Like, give me 21 to 35 days. The bare minimum 21 days. But some people come into me like, I'm getting married in like 17 days. And I'm like, crap. We'll do our best. And I have to say, I promise you. Look them in the eyes while I'm crying inside. I promise. Yeah. It's not easy.
It's crazy.
But we've done it. We have to do it.
Well, that, you know, it just goes to show, you know, that's how committed you are to making sure that you're starting a relationship off on the right foot. You know, you just talked about it. It was like, hey, if, you know, I need an emergency suit. I need it in 17 days. My wedding's coming up. Great. Okay. Suit gets delivered. But now you tell the story. Now that customer's telling the story behind it. I came out of nowhere. I was this annoying person. I said I needed a suit in 17 days. Like, the man over-delivered everything and was on it. And, you know, it was the perfect. It made the day what it was supposed to be. Went above and beyond what he was expected to do or what I would expect other people to do in the same situation. And now you've got the lifelong client who's now speaking on your behalf to his friend. Say, hey, you know, Stuart, you got a meeting coming up. Meeting or wedding coming up. You know, Mark, you've got a presentation coming up. You know, go to Camilo. He's got the suits ready to go.
The issue is the wrinkles it causes. It's a lot of stress, man. Like, I'm already aging quicker than a lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years from now, I see myself, let's see, probably retired fishing away from a lot of people.
Nice.
I like peace sometimes, you know. Like, I would love to have a house away from the city sometimes. But then I'm a big basketball fan, so I kind of have to be near the stadium. But then too much noise is sometimes not a good thing for me. But I like fishing. I like playing basketball. I like fishing and playing basketball. If I have a house in, like, Wyoming, I have a basketball court. I'm near a fishing pond.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
I'm
it.
good. I already lived my life.
So would you essentially, would the business stop, or would you put it on autopilot so you've got, income coming in every month?
That's the scary thing is like, I would definitely have to have income coming in because I have a family. But like, the only thing that I hope for is like, that I could maybe lead it to somebody else. Maybe have a son by that point.
Okay.
Right? Like
transition it into someone else.
I would love it to be generational. How about that? I want this to
Excellent.
be generations. Like I want to have a son, maybe, or even my daughter. It doesn't have to be a boy. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
It could be anybody. My daughter could take this business up, and maybe she's great at it, and she brings a new direction to it because she's younger, and we're getting old. We're talking about the old times, and they're like, that's lame now. Like, we don't know. We're getting old now, man. Like they.
For a young entrepreneur audience out there, what are some of the, kind of tips and tricks that you would give them, or for people who are interested in starting a business like this, what are the things you wish you knew when you first started?
The only thing I recommend for anybody is just getting it. Just go get it. That's what we used to say.
Jump in.
Yeah, dude. We opened up a juice place when I was 20 years old, about to be 21. We had to sign a lease, cold dark shell. That means there's no gravel, there was no plumbing, no electrical. I don't know anything about engineering. I don't know anything about building out. But we had to do it. It's all a matter about, it's not manning up. How about that's not the right word nowadays? Just get it done, get it done. Some people come up to me like, hey Camilo, I want to start a t-shirt company. They come up to me all the time. What do I need to do? And I'm like, well, I'll tell you where to go, but like, you have to go over there and do it. Like, you just have to go do it. Like, everybody has to go and do it. Nobody's gonna do it for you. All those actors, they traveled to. Some of them traveled to LA. They lived in vans. They went out auditioning every day, living off nothing. They had to go do it. So what do you have to go do? You want to become a model? If it's not working out in Maryland, go to New York City where it's more popping. Go out, audition every day. You're gonna get turned down all the time. You think I get sales every single day? No. So we have to find sales. Just get it. You have to go get it.
I feel like
people make excuses.
Yeah, I feel like that's a popular theme too. I'm a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, and there's a couple other entrepreneurs, Bedros Koulian and Patrick Bet-David, and everyone's kind of theme around that is the same thing. Stop talking about what you want to do and just go out there and start trying to do it.
It's true. I've only slept 2 hours. I'm in Boston. I was in New York yesterday. I have a kid that I have to leave the days that I want to be with her. So it's like I have to go do it. What's my excuse? I'm here. I haven't even slept much. I'm here. I'm in Boston. I don't know the area, but I'm here because I have to be here, and it's business, right?
But you're also enjoying it too, right?
Enjoying it too, and there's a Super Bowl parade if I check out.
Okay. Camilo, the last thing we're going to leave off here with is just a quick little word association game that I like to do. So, when I say a word or a term, you let me know kind of the first thing or phrase that comes to your mind, all right?
All right.
All right. First one here this is an easy one. Robert De Niro. Casino. Fashion industry.
Fashion district?
Industry.
Oh, fashion. Tom Ford.
Okay. Menswear.
I can't say Tom Ford again.
No.
b&tailor.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
How about Tom Ford?
Wide peak lapels.
And then lastly, let's do the House of Rubinacci.
His son's style is a little different. Luca Rubinacci's style is a little different. I like more of his father's style, but I have to say one word.
No, that's fine. The phrase is fine too. Yeah.
Sartorial Excellence Italiano.
Okay.
3 buttons.
There
They
we go.
the 3 buttons over there. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Camilo, I thank you very much. And now, where can people find you online or on Instagram?
Hey, so check me out. Instagram is @C_Milo Andres. That's my personal page, but I kind of use it as both. Or you could do @MiloAndres.com, or visit my website www.miloandres.com. Or if you're ever in the Montgomery County DMV area, I'm always around.
All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning into this episode here where we took a deep dive with Camilo Andres, with Milo Andres. My name is Alexan. Please like and comment and subscribe to our channel here, as well as follow us on Instagram @the Sartorial Armenian. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.